administration the chance to, or the authorize administration to approach the other landowner to see about the interest in either option, because I believe that we don't have a clear understanding of exactly what each landowner is willing to accept or would like to see.
If I can make a suggestion, I think the motion should stay on the table, because either way, if we go down a path of selling land, we just heard it tonight from Mr. Gunther, we have to go through a bylaw. And if council has a change of heart at seeing the information, after you see the map, council can at that time kill the bylaw and the whole thing is dead, right before it even goes to the minister. Because I'd like to have something on the record that shows council is interested in moving this forward. It's a completely legitimate option to sell land. I don't need it in the motion, Councillor Diskey, that we need to explore that buffer area, but at least get direction. And again, if you see further information at the next council meeting, you don't like it, you can kill the bylaw at that time, and it's for a way. Also need dialogue with the property owners too.
I would
Sorry.
like,
I was going to say, ultimately it is Councillor Watt's motion, if you would like to keep it
And
on
I
the floor.
second the motion, I will cancel my amendment.
Yeah, I'll hold it back.
Okay, so the motion has been withdrawn.
okay. I will put a motion on the table then that administration be authorized to provide a report to council regarding the sale, the consideration of sale of a portion of R3 in response to the letter received.
So I'm going to rule that as a motion to table with instruction to administration.
Sure.
That's fair?
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion?
I guess part of that request would be to determine what that land value is, so that when this discussion goes to the owners as an option, that they know what costs they
It's
incur.
not a lot. We worry about it, and I can't tell you the number off the top of my head, but it's not a lot.
Okay,
We'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
so, the motion, I will read for the table, and if there's any discussion, we can go back to there. If not, we will go to the vote. So the motion, as I understand it, is the motion that the Town of Orange tables the item 8.2, or is the upland shoreline fence, to the committee of, for the next regular meeting of council. The next regular meeting of council, as we cannot pass motions in our committee of the whole, that's why I'm pushing it up to the next regular meeting of council. With instructions to bring back the option for the potential purchase of the municipal reserve on the shoreline use and development. I do have a seconder for that motion in Councillor Hrdisky. Is there any other discussion before I call the question?
Just one point, can we have both properties treated individually in any future considerations?
We'll come back to the report. I don't think we need to separate
All right,
the
thank
relation
you.
to the weeds.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I will call the question on the motion. All those in favor of tabling item 8.2 to the next regular meeting of council, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I did both.
Yeah. Any opposed?
Aye.
Yeah. I will call that carried. And this will be tabled to the next regular meeting of council. All right, moving on. Item 8.3, the salary continuance policy.
Okay, I will take a conflict on 8.3, 8.4, and 8.9, I think it is. And I would like to request that those be seen as, if you can move 8.9 up, so that it becomes a bundle, or no? Or I can
No, seeing as this is a matter of conflict of interest, if council has no opposition to moving 8.9 so that we can deal with all three matters at one time, I will entertain that and just move forward with that. Hearing no opposition, I'm fine with that. Thank you, councillor, for your conflict of interest declaration, and we will move forward.
But, yeah. On 8.3, Mr. Chair, I'm going to ask that we table. There's still a little more work to be done on it yet.
Okay, so there has been a request from administration to table the salary continuance policy. Would that be the next regular meeting of council?
Correct.
All right, is anyone willing to put the motion forward to table item 8.3 to the next regular meeting of council?
Also move.
Councilor Bashar, is there a seconder? Councilor Kardisky. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I call it carried. So item 8.3 has been tabled to the next regular meeting of council. 8.4, group benefits plan and policy amendment. Any other thing from administration on this
It's not
matter?
strictly housekeeping if we go through with the switch to AMA plan tonight.
Okay. I so move that the transition to AUMA group benefits plan effective July 1st, 2021 be approved, and that all savings generated from the transition to the AUMA plan be placed into a group benefits reserve, and further that the amendment to the employee group benefit policy be adopted as presented.
Is there a seconder to that motion?
I'll second.
Councilor Vetri. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will call the question on item 8.4. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We will have to vote. I will call it carried. 8.4 has been carried. And once again, to remind council, we moved 8.9 up, as it is a town of LaRange incident. Sorry, 8.9 has been moved up, and we are now dealing with the matter of the town of LaRange incident report form. If there's anyone willing to make the motion that came out of our committee of the whole.
I will move that the town of Run incident report form be accepted as presented.
All right, is there a second to that motion? Councilor Vetri. Any discussion on the matter before calling the question? Hearing none, I will call the question. All those in favor of item 8.9?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. All right, Councilor Riz can be let back into the room.
Sure. I got one vote on it.
All right. We are on item 8.5. Is there anyone willing to make the motion?
I'll move the employee recognition policy be adopted as presented with an effective starting date of January 1st, 2021. Oh,
2020, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it's retroactive?
Yeah, so it's the beginning of this year, anything that's happened this year for the full 12 months.
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, I will call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I will call it carried. Item 8.6, Fred Jorgensen recognition.
I'll move that a retiring gift be purchased for Captain Fred Jorgensen in accordance with the Town of LaRonde employee recognition policy in recognition of his 20 years of service to the LaRonde Regional Fire Department.
I'll second that.
All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, I will call the question. All those in favor of item 8.6?
Aye.
Aye.
I call it carried. For the record, unanimously. 8.7, Town of LaRange prescribed burns. This is a motion coming out of the committee of the whole as well. If there's anyone that is willing to make a motion on the Town of LaRange prescribed burns.
I'll move the, okay, I'll move that council receive and file the information regarding a control burn along Bedford Drive near the Baker Crescent.
I'll second that.
All right. Any discussion on the matter? Hearing none, I'll call the question on the matter of 8.7. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Item 8.8, Regional Air Transportation Initiative.
Again, Mr. Chair, just a
Yep.
brief update for council. So we're still planning on pursuing the internet. Our airport manager went back to Infrastructure Canada, Western Economic Verification. We're going to change the application for the other side to,
Just a quick point of order. I do see that there's internet upgrades involved. I'm going to have to pass the chair and declare conflict on the matter as it might involve my employer. So I will pass it to Councilor Kardisky for the remainder of item 8.8.
so if I can, just very quickly, we're going to move from the cargo storage to one of the aprons out there is needed some chip seal rework. And I talked to some of the airport operators that actually directed Jim to put the money towards fixing the runway. So the second part of it is to fix part of the runway, which is we've confirmed is eligible with this RADI program. So the airport operator users, are excited for both projects now that have been outlined in the internet. Apparently, it's going to make a dramatic impact out there in terms of improving their business operations.
So, just a question for administration, was there not a dollar figure that should be qualified within this motion?
We're just getting authorizations and we're just giving council a heads up. They're going there. We don't have any idea how much money we're getting. We have an unofficial amount of money that we think is going to be flowed here. They believe that most of the money is going to go to Regina Saskatoon's airport. We think right now we've been told unofficially about $300,000, so that's kind of where we're working with right now on these two items.
Fair enough.
Okay, so basically we have to, motion that was presented or recommended in the committee will have to be rescinded.
Yeah, just
Have to be
change the
amended
motion to or to the airport and make sure, and further to Councillor Watt's point, all these items are going to be well over our spending limit, so they both have to come back to council for approval anyways.
Okay.
Because both of these are looking at about $150,000 a piece, so they're going to come back to council anyways for final approval before the purchase is made. And by that time, we'll have an idea about how much money we have. So, yeah, so the motion is that we do an application based on the apron, rehabilitation work for chip seal and inert upgrades.
Did we make a motion on this yet? Is there a motion on the floor? No.
So I guess if we need a motion to change the intent of the grant.
The application is to those two projects now.
Okay, so we can have a motion to change the intent of the motion to exclude the cargo storage and the upgrades and include the runway work and the culvert.
Yeah, chip seal on the apron.
Motion made by Councillor,
I'll second that.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, motion is carried. We can
I'll call Jordan back in.
We're no longer in conflict of interest.
All right,
8.10.
we are back to 8.10. Thank you, Councillor Gadisky, for taking care of that.
Thank you.
8.10, the water main issue on Cuthand Street.
Mr. Chair, I do have an update for council as of this afternoon.
Absolutely.
So I've talked to Northern Relations, and I'll have an answer tomorrow, but he believes the repair cost to fix Cuthand will be paid for through one of the Northern programs at 100%.
Wow.
So it's not confirmed yet until tomorrow. He said he'll have an update, but I explained to Mr. Henry what happened, and he believes one of the programs will cover off the whole cost. So that also helps out resourcing it and getting it moving faster. So irregardless, we have to fix it, as we all know, but there's a good chance as of tomorrow that there's a program funded.
That's fantastic, Ian. Thank
Do
you.
we need a motion to accept the check now? We can back away. All right, so with that, I
It
would,
doesn't change the intent of
yeah,
those.
doesn't it change the intent
Yeah.
of
It's
the
just
motion?
an update.
Yeah,
Also move that the proposal to replace the existing water main be approved with consideration of possible sewer line upgrades and extending the water loop in anticipation that Saskatchewan Health Authority's proposed long-term care development.
I'll second that.
that's, yeah, a little wordy, eh?
It's really weird.
Yeah,
Anyway, at least, I guess, in all intent of this motion is to fix that water main on.
The intent
Yes.
is to fix it. We didn't need to come back to council for authorization before. This is just more getting council's interest and authorization to look at attaching it to the long-term care home.
absolutely. All right, so I did see a mover and a seconder to that. Is there any discussion on that matter? Hearing none, I will call the question on matter 8.10. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Carried unanimously. All right. Item number 9, bylaws. So item 9.1, bylaw 64821. Is there anyone that was willing to move that the bylaw number 64821, known as the management of waterworks system and the terms for supply of water and sewer?
I will so move that council approve the amendment of bylaw number 603/19 in the Greater Pass bylaw number 648/21 on this date, April 27th, 2020.
All right, is there a seconder to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion on it? On the record, I would like to state, and maybe ask a bit of a question. I know that this was something that was brought up in the initial discussions. Did we look into the potential offsetting costs for the landlords and being able to, absorb that cost into rent? And are they allowed to have that under legislation, or is this going to be putting, there's no financial burden to the town, as I see, but is there a financial burden that might be put onto landlords in this case?
For sure, so there is a financial burden, but if we allow enough time for the landlords to adjust their practices, as long as they can provide sufficient notice, and I believe under the Saskatchewan Landlords Association, they can give 6 months notice, and that's part of that consultation process to give a heads up to everybody. If they come back and say they need more lead time
Right.
to implement it, then we allow more lead time to adopt and change their practices. So they are allowed to change their practices, but they do need sufficient time to make those changes.
And for the record, this would come into force
September 1st is what we discussed.
September 1st.
Oh, it says 30th in the bylaw.
Sorry, September 30th.
Right, correct.
Is there the option for them to continue as they are, but the homeowners are ultimately responsible, even though we allow the tenants to pay, so there would be an agreement, kind of a tenant agreement?
Yeah, so as long as we give sufficient notice, like Sask Housing has those tenant agreements, council, as long as we give them lots of time to change their practices, they can change their practices, whether, like Sask Housing, I believe, has a 24 or 40-hour notice. If the water bill's not paid, they find out, you're evicted on the spot.
I know Sask Energy has that policy, that they allow the tenant to pay the bills, but there's that tenant landlord agreement that has to be signed.
Yep. And that's part of that consultation process as we start talking through them, is, advising, and I know I've talked to lawyers that pass this issue, there's ways to protect the landlord through properly crafted agreements, just allowing the time to adjust to the new reality, not doing it within 30 days, right?
Absolutely.
That would simplify the having to worry about raising the rent to cover it, so that, that dispute between raising rental rates would be eliminated with that agreement. So that's why I bring it up.
Yeah, no, it's all about consultation on this piece, and again, I've done this about 3 or 4 times, and I don't think caution to council, and I'm pretty confident that I know the answer is that council open to amending that timeline another month or 2 if enough issues arise, and there will be issues arising, but I mean, again, that whole consultation period and allowing time to adjust is key to getting the change through, so.
What's that?
Sorry, I'm gonna give you a second.
There is a mover and a seconder, so I'm just gonna.
Sorry.
So I'm just gonna, what my intention is I'm going to allow the discussion on the first reading, and then we'll just do the second and third if we have to. I'm not gonna do a discussion on every reading. I don't think it's gonna change between readings. So if there's any other discussion on the matter, say it now. If there is not, I will call the question. All right, so all those in favor of reading of the item 9.1 of bylaw 648/21, please state your intentions now. If you're in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the motion is carried. So with that, I will move to the second reading of the bylaw 648/21.
I'll move that bylaw 648/21, a bylaw to amend bylaw 603/19 be read a second time.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. I will go for the bylaw 648/21 to allow the third reading.
Okay, the third reading of bylaw 648/21 be permitted on this date.
I'll second that.
All those in favor of allowing the third reading? This, as a point of order, it has to be unanimous,
Aye.
Aye.
and there is 6 hands in the air. I will call it carried. So with that, we are on to the third and final reading of bylaw number 648/21.
I will move third reading.
We have a moving to the third reading, seconder,
Second.
Counselor Vetri. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I will call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Carried. All right, we move on to item 9.5, which is the bylaw 649, buy your lottery tickets.
Terrible,
Actually, I'm-
terrible joke in the chair.
All right, so bylaw 649, which is known as the extension bylaw for the assessment role. If there's anybody that is willing to make the motion to have bylaw 649/21 be read.
I'll so move.
All right,
I'll second that.
I have a seconder. Any discussion on the matter? Hearing none, I will call the question. All those in favor of the first reading of 649?
Aye.
I will call it carried. Motion for the second reading.
I move that bylaw 649/21 be extended, go to a second reading to be extended for the time required for the completion of the 2021 assessment roll be read a second time. That was wordy.
Is there a seconder? to that?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. A motion to allow the third reading of bylaw 649/21.
Also move. I will second.
There is a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried.
I'll move that a bylaw to extend the time required for the completion of 2021 assessment roll be read a third time and adopted.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Carried.
May I make
649.
may I
It's been
make a
done.
suggestion, Deputy Mayor?
Yes.
May I request a short recess? I think we're getting a little punch drunk.
We can, in the essence of time, take a 10, I will say a 15-minute recess, and then we will not have another recess until adjournment. So we will not go to our normal recess before in camera.
Why do we need a 15 minutes? 5 minutes is adequate.
For a cigarette.
Can I have 7 so I
You
can?
gotta be 10 o'clock.
Okay, I will split the difference and I will say 10. 10 minutes, we will reconvene at 9:10 to continue on with item 10.1.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.